Okay, there we go. Hey, everyone. Oh my goodness. It has been a fun time. I tell you, I looked away for a moment. I was muting it on the other screen. I hadn't run that. Well, welcome everybody to the live show. I am so glad I have Mike with me today, and he's going to help me out in the chat room. So as you get in, please let us know where you're coming in from. We want to hear from you. Looks like we have a few people popping in, which is nice and which is fantastic. Welcome, everyone. I hope that everyone's getting ready for their big eclipse, right? They got their little glasses they can wear and get ready for the big eclipse. That is a huge learning opportunity for scouts, no matter where you are in scouting. In 2017, my wife and I went all the way up to Galligan, Tennessee. I think that was Tennessee. And we got to see the total eclipse then. And that was actually the center mark. We got to see the total eclipse of the sun. It was amazing. So you are in for a super treat. If you've never had that opportunity to actually see an eclipse, it's going to be awesome. So Mike, are you there? You good?
I'm here. I'll take myself off mute.
Okay. I want to make sure that everybody can see that we have Mike's going to help me out in the chat, and he'll be reading off your questions. So please give him good answers. Remember, we're all under the Scout Oath and Scout Law, and we got to be friendly and courteous to one another. And it's okay to have conversations within the chat. That's totally fine. Just keep in mind, it's part of the video, so other people will see it. So be on your best, right? So I know you will.
All right.
But
well,
we're going
to... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I see some people actually coming in, and they're putting in there from Texas and from Arkansas. And oh, my goodness. There's a bunch. Yep. We have a bunch of people here tonight.
We have good evening from Relantel is our first one. Awesome. In Ping King 554, doing scouting for food right now.
Wow. You know, they do it all different times of year. We do it in November. So that's when we do ours. So in the South, different places do it different times. And it's good. That's good. That way we're not overwhelming, you know, all those contributions aren't just piling up somewhere. So that's good. And that is awesome. Scouting for food. Takes several months to get ready for that, and to really do the I don't know if they have these door hangers, and sometimes they tie the bags on, and sometimes they have bags, and sometimes they don't. It depends from different areas. And is one of, you know, that actually started as an Eagle project. That's how that started. So that was
quite an impact.
Yeah, and it just went on from there. Which is, that makes it awesome. I think that Eagle projects are amazing. So, and it's one of those, I'm partial to Eagle projects. I review a lot of Eagle projects for my district. I'm very active with the advancement team, and our district is huge. And currently I have, as soon as I get done here, probably late tonight, maybe early morning, I'll be working on 2 Eagle project reviews. So that is one of those things that a lot of scouts get a little nervous about. And that's one of those things. They don't have to be that nervous because they've already gone through 3 other people the one that's receiving it, their scoutmaster, and their unit committee. That's usually already have gone through that proposal process. The last person is the district. So that's whoever the district or council. Sometimes it has to be done with the council. Depends on where you are. That differs from every area. The process is the same, but it's different people you might have to contact. So you have to check in your area. And but as far as the actual Eagle project, let's make them good. Let's make them go for generations. So do you have another one there, Mike?
Yes, we have Timothy. Says, good evening to everyone from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
Awesome. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. My brother was born in Pittsburgh. Yeah. So.
And we have Ken is wishing us good evening from Lafayette, Louisiana.
Ken is one of our members, and he has been a member a very long time, and he helps out a lot in the chat, which is wonderful, and I wish him all the best. He's my Baton Rouge from Louisiana, right?
And we have a viewer. I'm in from North Texas.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Up there in the Panhandle.
We have Jared is wishing us hello from Conway, Arkansas.
Awesome. Arkansas. Fantastic.
And Pin King 554 looks like reference scouting for food. We're trying to break our record of 20,000 pounds of food in one weekend. Wow, that's larger than what our city does. Is that a whole district or
wow
that's doing that? That's amazing.
That is fantastic. That's a great goal. It really goes a long way to help a lot of people. That is awesome. I see there's a gift membership. Woohoo! We like gift memberships. Membership is something that I've been working on for the channel. And I really want to get a lot of people involved in that because I want to do a members only kind of chat like this, and maybe even have a few on screen. So that's something I would like to have to have some guests come together. I called it Campfire. I've been thinking about it for over a year, and I'd like to get more members involved. And then of course we'd record it, and then later on, for those who just prefer the what I call the ad supported stuff, just go ahead and they can watch it and get information from it. But it'd be nice to have a bunch of scout leaders just sit and chat. I think that would be awesome. So definitely think about that. That's membership. I hope to earn your membership. In fact, I put up a members only video so that you can actually see what you're missing. Okay. There's extra stuff in that video. So definitely check that out. I believe it's on our main page for the site, and check it out. Look in the comments section, and the link should be there. But that's only going to be for a little while. I think it ends on Monday. So definitely, if you want to see one of the members only videos, I think it was from Thanksgiving time. So you could check that out. I think it's Little Troop in a Big Way. So I think is the episode that was suggested. So that is out there. So definitely look into membership. It's only, I think it's $4 or something a month. So, that's something that some people can, some people can't. So I totally understand that. If you're struggling with that, that's okay. That's fine. But you can always sign up for a gift membership. We just had 5 of them go through. So you can definitely sign up and be on the waiting list. So when somebody donates those memberships, they can actually start that process, and then you can check it out. They got icons and all kinds of little, what do they call those? The emojis that they put on there. You could do that too. So you probably have seen some of that in the comments. So that is the cool thing.
All right. We have Revved Up Like a Dukes reports, I'm from Southeast Georgia. So another viewer there.
Awesome. The South. The real South. Looks like we have a OA question. What's this one here? Is this
no? Relantel says NCAC here, fresh off a double weekend with District Camporee and OA Fellowship.
Awesome. NOAC is something that's the National Order of the Arrow Conference. NOAC, I believe, is no, that's a different training he's doing there. That's the NCAC. Yeah. So that's a little bit different. My screen is real small.
All right, we'll have to work on the size of the text on your screen, but someone coming in from Michigan.
Awesome. Hey, from everywhere. I have a friend over in England. His name is Mark, and Big Man in the Woods, or BMW as I call him. He does scouting for British Scouting. And I was looking at I was thinking, what if he joins the chat? That would be awesome. I join his stuff all the time. Thing is, he's on Greenwich Mean Time, so it's like 2 or 3 in the morning there. So I'm not expecting that. It's the other way around. It's like 2 or 3 in the afternoon when it's evening over there. I can get into their chat. It's kind of fun. But if you would like to experience some other world scouting, Big Man in the Woods, check him out. He's awesome. And I've been on his thing before. I owe him a personal interview thing. I think that might be what we'll do. We might have him on and we'll just do an interview, and that would be fun. I think it would be really good. So I was able to answer questions for his audience, and he can do that here. So I don't know if he wants to be up that late at night.
So we have Revved Up is doing his border review on Tuesday. I'm doing my border review for Star Rank, so that's super
fantastic. Star Rank is one of those where you're getting ready. You're taking that next step. You're going from being first class into Star, and a lot of that has to do with leadership. So look into a lot of leadership positions in your troop, and that will help you with your border review. So definitely do that. Yeah, I think that's wonderful.
All right, Edward has a question. Hi, I need some help. How do we approach a pack when they're refusing to tell us if they're sending their Aeroflight scouts to the troop or not?
You could always attend their meeting. Show up to their pack meeting. That's that, and troops can do that. And they can do likewise. They should be visiting. There's no obligation for the scouts to move to a particular pack. Say, for instance, if your pack 10 doesn't move to troop 10, okay, that's not the way that works. You have to earn it. You have to actually recruit those Cub Scouts to come over to your troop. So that is a lot of stuff there that you have to make sure that you get that started and early. And the best way to do that, and I've said this a million times, den chiefs. That is your best in to any pack, because they're there to help out. And when they go into that den, and usually it's the dens that are like an Arrow of Light den or a Weeblo's den, they are seeing what they want to become, and they will follow that scout to that unit. So if you need to have that connection, that it's a long process when you're dealing with recruiting from the Cub Scouts into your troop. So important, and it needs to be done, and you need to think of it annually. It is a year-long process. Definitely get your den chiefs going. Definitely get your I believe it's the troop guide that will be working with the first year emphasis patrol, so that they can understand the patrol method and everything. And that's usually where your den chief ends up, as a guide. So that's the beautiful thing. They can actually be with that young person through that transition from the pack to the troop. So definitely think long-term. It is a very long-term thing. But as a troop, you can definitely go to their pack meeting and visit and offer to do do a little service, do some run-ons, do some gags, do some organization, help out a little bit. If they see that working back and forth in scouting, it goes a long ways to recruiting a good recruitment of a lot of those scouts to move over. So hopefully I answered that question.
Yeah. Rusty B says, good evening, ScouterStan.
Good evening. Good evening.
That's Luke awesome. Is Rusty. Camping out at Camp Kingsley in New York. Right now, plan to see the eclipse in totality tomorrow. That will be...
Yes. Tomorrow afternoon, I believe. Yeah. So you got to have your glasses. You make sure that you got the little shiny glasses for looking at the sun. That is so important. And no sneak peeky, because that could hurt. Okay. Make sure your scouts know that. And especially the Cub Scouts. Nobody looks at the sun. Okay. That hurts your eyes. It could even damage your eyes. So definitely don't do that. That's why you have to have these. Now, another way is the pinhole. You take a piece of paper, a big piece of cardboard, and you just poke a hole in it. And it acts as a projector against another piece of paper on the ground. That way you're not looking directly at the sun. You can see the partial of the eclipse. So those are two great ways of helping scouts view this once in a lifetime event. I can remember in 2017, when I saw the total eclipse in Tennessee, and it was amazing. We had the glasses and we were watching, and we had the little app on the phone, and it was really, really cool. When it happens you're in totality, you look around, look all the way around, not just at the sun, but just look at the horizon all the way around. You will see a sunrise in every direction or a sunset in every direction. It is a once in a lifetime. And it's so neat. As the eclipse is happening, you can actually see these little crescents of the sun through the trees. The trees act like that pinhole projector, and it actually projects it on the ground. So there's these little crescents just glimmering all over the ground. It is so cool. When the actual full eclipse happens, you have the ring. They have the diamond, which is just a peak of light that comes out from the top, and it's like a diamond ring. And then it is amazing. The park we were in, all the street lights came on. And that woke up all the bats. So there were bats all over the sky. It was amazing. So for 4 minutes, we actually saw this whole process take place. It was, yes. You have to do it. It is such a once in a lifetime thing. And when we decided to go up to Tennessee, it was like the day before. So there was no planning. So it was go up with our sleeping bag, sleep in the car, and then the next day see the thing. And we had to be back the very next day.
Unfortunately, tomorrow's a school day, so I hope that many scouts will have an opportunity while they're in school to see the eclipse, at least see it out the window. So,
well, every school should have something like that. They should. I mean, this is especially if you're in the totality area. In Florida, where I'm at, it's only going to be about 60% covered. So you still will need those glasses. You'll still need the pinhole. There is a brief moment during the actual eclipse where you can take the glasses off. That's the brief moment. And that's the only time you can actually look towards the sun during the day, is during an eclipse. That's amazing to see. So I've actually seen that with my eyes, and you don't want to look at it too long because it is bright, the edge around the moon. It's amazing. It's amazing. So definitely is something that you do not want to miss. Highly recommend it.
Pin King says they have no district and there's just 4 or 5 units in their area, if I understand the comment.
That's, a lot of times their council just can't sustain the small amount of units. There isn't enough membership going on to actually pay for the professional staff. So that actually narrows down to usually some volunteers for that area. So technically, if you have a unit, it has to be registered to something. So through something, it has to have a charter there has to be some kind of infrastructure as far as your area. So from a scout standpoint, that may appear that way because there's so few units in your area, they're very remote. There is usually volunteers that represent for that area. Now, this is rare. You'll find this in places that are, rural areas of Alaska, rural areas of, I believe there's some in Idaho that are like that, but it is very rare. There's usually a district or council, somebody nearby that can process things, because the last thing you want to do is not have that infrastructure, that connection to national when you're dealing with advancement. You don't want those things to get that just go off to never. You have to have somebody there to kind of transfer that through. They might do it through a sister district or council nearby. So that's something that you want to think about. Very few are what they call lone scouts. That's usually parents in a single or a pair of sons or daughters that are acting on their own because they don't have a unit that's available in their area. So that's very, very rare, but it does happen. It does happen. So there's a lot of different councils out there.
Super. Well, Luke is greeting us from the Leatherstocking Council.
There you go.
Brandon is a new den leader for 2 months.
Fantastic,
from
Brandon.
Kentucky.
Thank you so much, Brandon. Awesome. Brand new den leader for what? For wolves?
I bet Brandon will let us know in a future comment.
Don't get scared. Don't get worried. You got a lot of support. We're here to help. So,
okay, I see in a future comment, he's a den leader for. I'll just bring up the comment. Frowned upon to be. Is it frowned upon to be a den leader for multiple dens? He's a leader for a tiger den. This fall, his middle son will be joining as a lion.
Ah, very good. That is okay in the smaller ones, like the lion and the tiger, mainly because the parents are relied on a lot, and you can it doesn't overwhelm you as a den leader. It's important that you get some of those parents to also help you out and maybe even sign up as den leaders. That might be a good way to kind of segue a little bit there, because all you have to do is say, look, next year I'm going to be in the wolves and I can't do this again and again and again. Okay. you gotta put it on the parents. The parents have to step up. Somebody can step up. If not, two people can step up and kind of help out as far as the den chief. That's something that that we need to do as adult leaders, is find our replacements. That is so important. You have to find somebody that can take up the reins for when you move on to the next den. Okay. That is so important. So important. You want to have that succession plan there. I think I did a video on 10 red flags, and that was one of them. I've had units fail because they didn't have that plan in place. They've actually gone out. The unit was very healthy, had a lot of money, had a lot of scouts. It was doing well, but they didn't have the leadership plan. And the Cub Scouts, it just totally collapsed. That was during the COVID, so that was during the lockdowns and all that. That was not good.
So, all right, I see we've only had 5 people give this a thumbs up. If we could have some more people give it a thumbs up. It looks like 22 people watching right now. Yeah. I guess you're one of those. I'm one of those, but there's 20 people other than the two of us. So hopefully we can get some more thumbs up.
Definitely need that. That's for sure. So red flags are important. Check out that video and definitely think about it. Sometimes you go through a red flag and don't know it. And that is one of those warning signs that your unit might be heading for some real trouble. So definitely check out that video. That's super important to make sure that if you see those red flags, you do something about it. Write down what you did, because you might run into it again. So that is the critical thing about leadership, is to make sure that once you get into those situations, you know the way to get out of them and to successfully benefit from that challenge. That's the wonderful thing. You want to make sure that occurs. So definitely check out that video. I have one that we're working on tomorrow, I believe, on the Paul Bunyan Award. I mean, if you've been in scouting for some time, you've seen it. It's a little axe. It's a double-bladed axe, double bite axe, that actually a lot of people don't know anything about. So we're going to do a video on that. It's a requested video. And if you're going through the videos and checking them out, and there's something in there you're looking for that's not there, let me know immediately. Okay. You can let me know through comments. You can let me know through email. I'm always looking for the next season topics. And we're mid-season of season 10. So season 11 only has maybe 10 items of 24. So I definitely need some more ideas. So if you think of anything, you can't find it, you'll let me know.
Well,
Looks like we have one.
Brandon is greeting us from the Lincoln Heritage Council.
Awesome. Fantastic.
Pin King, I believe, was the one that reported 20,000 pounds of food and scouting for food. And we have a comment that they apparently hit about 8,000 houses. So that's remarkable.
That's amazing. That is fantastic. It is so important that we help the food banks stay stocked up and maintained. That is so important throughout the country. Very important.
Okay, and we have Alex says for some of them, it's up to parents where they move to. I think referring to the Weeblos to Scouts BSA transition, the crossover. And so having a good program and having den chiefs is very helpful. Good for recruiting.
Yes. It is super huge for recruiting. Yep. Awesome. What was that? I saw there was a gift. Is that what are we at there?
Yeah, it's just referencing thanks for Relantel's gift memberships. 5 memberships gifted several minutes ago.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Lucas saying my scouts and I are doing our very first hammock overnight camp out. Going well so far. It's 44 degrees, beautiful and clear out.
44 degrees.
All right, I see.
For Florida, that's really cold.
And let me look at where is
Mike, where you live, that's considered quite warm, isn't it?
Well, it depends. Okay, it looks like the Leatherstock Council is in Utica, New York, if I found it correctly on my other screen here.
Neat. Utica. I was in Saratoga. Saratoga Springs is where I lived, and the Saratoga Council was the council that my father was actually in. He was the executive. Very small council. So I think they had 3 DEs. So
okay, I guess I'm just flipping through some that are responses to other questions. Pin King, the previous comment was.
I don't see it. Oh, I see what you have up on the screen there. Trying to find the other. Oh, okay. I got it. All right. So I see that. Scouting for food is one of those things that we do that is so important for the local community. A lot of times we do it in conjunction with other things going on. Here in Florida, we typically will do scouting for food, not in spring, but we do it in the fall. And that's kind of the difference between the two. So Looks like I've lost Mike. I just saw his thing pop out of there. Maybe he can log back in. But as far as the scouting for food, that's it's kind of up to your area, and if it's in spring or in the fall. So, and in where I live, it is definitely in the fall. So I'm going to carry on. Let's see what we got here. We got um, okay. I've been a volunteer for the district, searching to what. I'm gonna have to move it a little closer. My eyes. If you see how thick these things are, I'm telling you, it's a little hard to see some of this. They found my channel. Yay! That's fantastic. Thank you so much. That is fantastic. Cool. There we are. Some pack families raise their hands and volunteer. Yes, it is so important to get them to step up. And I think I've told you stories about when I was recruiting about how people got involved. I could tell you that when I got back into scouting, it was through my son. And I don't know if you've heard this story or not, but it is one of those classic ScouterStan stories that I like to tell. But when they were doing the back to the pack, and that was the big thing, it was huge as far as getting back to the pack. It was huge because it was a restart. I had no idea. I didn't know what a restart was, and it was the actual Cub Master had moved on, actually crossed over, and the whole situation with the pack is they were trying to reboot everybody. My son was there for the baseball cards that he was promised when he said, come to the meeting with baseball cards. So that's what he was there for. And sure enough, he got his cards and everything, but the person running that meeting said, is there any Eagle Scouts here? Well, my son, he just joined scouting. He jumps up and he's waving his arms. And the leader says, you can't be an Eagle Scout. He says, oh, no, I'm not an Eagle Scout. My dad is. I became the Cub Master at that moment. So it was, you never know when you're going to get that call to give back service. I loved being Cub Master. That was a lot of fun. It was one of those things that I will never, ever regret, because that was a wonderful time. Wonderful time. Looks like, Mike, you're back. It looks like we lost you for a moment there. And hopefully we have Mike coming back on. Let's see if he's got here. Oh, I got the ad.
Pink King.
There you go. I added you to the stage. You're good. You're on now. Awesome.
It's just as well that I don't have a camera, I think.
We didn't want to shock anybody. You can do so much with this thing. It's amazing. But luckily you were able to log back in. We just answered a question about family stepping up. Sometimes you get cornered and you got to do it. And it's the best decision they've ever made. But I had a young recruiter that I was trying to help through a lot of the recruiting stuff. And he had everybody says, raise your hand if you love your kids. And so everybody did. It was normal. And he says, okay, now raise your hand if you want to help your kids succeed. They all kept them up. He says, all right, keep your hand up if you want to lead. And they all put their hands down. As he's a young leader. So he says, what? You don't love your kids? It was quite the scene. But they just don't know they have time. They think they have no time, but they do. They really do. We all know that. So it's a matter of just having them step up. There, a lot of them are just scared of messing up. And in fact, if you mess up, I learned this as a Cub Master. If you mess up, the kids love it even more. So that's the best meeting, when you messed up the lyrics of that song. or that cheer just hit the floor and nobody understood it. So yeah, they love that stuff. So, but I enjoy it.
For next comment, a viewer was asked to volunteer for their district, and in searching for information, that's how they found the channel.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this is kind of a support group. we want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to really get in there and ask questions, and that's the wonderful thing. Mike helps me out, helps with my vision. I'm kind of becoming Mr. Magoo. Remember those old cartoons? My vision is not the best, and the print couldn't be big enough. And that's another thing. When I'm evaluating projects, I have to make it really big so that I can see it easily and really understand it. So that is important.
And looks like Timothy was commenting to a previous viewer that he would hope that one person would not need to serve as den leader for 2 dens. But
true, and get a parent to help out. But if you're going to do that, the only ones I would recommend are lion and tigers. Those are the only ones, because you have parents there. That's the only reason I would say maybe. But most of the time, no. You want to stay focused on the different groups as that one group, and that makes it a lot easier. So definitely do that.
Super. Another comment: leadership succession is imperative, and parents are your best resource.
Yep. Yes. Yes. That unfortunately there will be nobody coming up if you don't ask, and that's another thing. You have to ask. You have to be able to say, "Hey, I need help with this. Can you join in as an assistant and help me with that meeting?" And then they do a few, and they get the confidence, and then you just say, "Well, I'm moving on next year, so I need you to step up and start actually running those meetings." So get them going, get them started. The assistant should be able to do those meetings. And that's true for troops too. Troops, crews, everybody should have adult leadership that can step up and actually do a lot of those activities and run that meeting. Very important. So,
all right, I'm going to read this one, then I'll switch back to my primary internet connection just so you're not spooked when I disappear for a few seconds. Relantel comments, can you include a comparison between tool knowledge requirement of the Paul Bunyan Award and the tools that are required for the National Outdoor Achievement Award conservation segment? And I'm going to switch connections here.
Okay. All right. Well, Mike's going to do his thing, and I'm going to answer the best I can to that. As far as the Paul Bunyan Award, it's an old award that's been around for a very long time. It has a lot to do with creating whittling chip and totem chip instructors. That's really the core when you look at it. The other is more of a conservation thing. And when you're using those kinds of that type of equipment that's in the Paul Bunyan Award, which is actually instructors for the totem chip, they know how to use those pieces of equipment. So there's things in there like a Maddox and McHarrim, and there's another one these are used in a lot of different situations. You have to know what they're for. I do not have the award. I've been researching it. I believe I did when I was younger, but that's something that is part of that award, where you're actually, let me make sure I'm not doing this. Okay. Make sure that when you're doing that award, you're using that equipment. So that's an award, whereas the other one is more of a conservation type of award. So they are different, but you will be using a lot of the similar equipment. Okay.
All right. The user Nimrod Diaries is about to become a new Cub Master. Congratulations. And taking on a pack that is the size of their den when they were den leader about a decade ago. Same pack. Looking for any advice for a new Cub Master?
Awesome. The best thing I've ever did as a Cub Master was come up with a Scream box. Now you can have a can, you can have a box, anything with a lid that you can put on it. I believe mine was a Tupperware thing that I put in there, and you could see through it. And I wrote the word Scream, so it's on the inside. So if you just want to get them excited, you tell them, it says, this box is full of screams. And when I open it up, everybody screams. And you open up a little bit and they go, ah. And then you open it up a little more, they go, ah, they go crazy. So that is something that really gets that momentum going. And sometimes I just take the lid and throw it up in the air, and they'd scream and scream and scream until they got the lid back on the box. And then everybody had to be quiet. So it was a great way to get them excited, get them happy, as a Cub Master. So Screambox, try it out. That's one of those. It's a Cub Master trick.
Well, here's a comment to get parents involved during Cub meetings, and they say their committee chair talks to parents during every meeting in order to keep them informed and build the parent community.
Yes. The talking portion of a Cub pack meeting, the talking portion should be directed to the parents. They're there. So definitely talk to them about it. Keep it as short and very concise. You know, this is when that meeting is. Be here by that time. This is when we're leaving for the firehouse for the tour. You know, those are the kinds of things that need to be specified, but do it very quickly. Okay. And they're going to completely forget it. So write it down, have some kind of handout that you can hand all of the adults so that they're aware of what's going on. Keeping them informed will keep them more apt to actually joining the leadership. So definitely do that. The youth aren't interested. They know mom and dad are going to bring them there, and they're going to do the transport, and they're going to do all that stuff, and they're going to take care of it. So they could chat and do all that stuff, and it makes it very confusing. So definitely have it written down as far as the details. Never use the A word, which is announcements, because then they'll use that song. Oh my gosh, we used to do that at day camp. That was a lot of fun. So don't use the A word.
Advice for a new Cub Master: use the JTL as your guide for success.
Yes, that is very true. You know, that's something that the committee is committed to do. So definitely be on the same page with that. Literally get that thing, download it, and it will give you the guide of how to really go through. JTE, Journey to Excellence, is the thing we're talking about. So make sure that you go and check that out. I think that was my third video on this channel. So it's a long time ago. So that's been there.
All right, Brandon comments that our den doesn't wear uniforms to pack meetings, as most parents don't have money to spare. And Brandon is slowly getting their Tiger Den to wear uniforms to be an example. I've heard that in some councils there's a second option for a Cub uniform. I believe it's some kind of a polo shirt.
Yeah, or a shirt. Just a T-shirt would work. Sometimes they'll just come up with a simple T-shirt that they can get at the craft store, and then do iron-on stuff. You know, like the if it's the lions or the tigers or something like that, they could do something like that. Sometimes it varies. It depends on the community and all that, where you are. Of course, you could always do fundraising. You could, that's something that the unit can do and help everybody out in getting a T-shirt. So, and then that way everybody can be part of that group. Scouting is a uniformed thing. Because we want to make sure that everybody is on the same group. We're big on patrol method, and that's one of those things. We want to make sure that everybody comes together in uniform so that there's that unity of a unit. That's the key thing about uniforms. And that is sort of important. But if you can come up with something that's uniform for the whole group, that's great. That's a great place to start. And you can do that very inexpensively. So that's a good question. Thank you so much for that question.
Looks like Brandon is asking, kind of asking the other viewers on the chat, do you have a better way to nudge the pack in the right direction as a new den leader?
Sure. Do den leaders can actually attend the committee meetings, and they can definitely be involved with the Cub Master and using that Journey to Excellence that we talked about briefly before, using some of that can kind of nudge the group towards the right direction. And that's huge. That can help not only the unit, but your youth that are in that unit. Is going to help the whole thing grow bigger and bigger and better and stronger. So that's the beautiful thing about Journey to Excellence. And a lot of people kind of these days, I don't know why, but they just don't really think about that. But Journey to Excellence is a roadmap to success. If you can do just the silver level, not gold, that's not bronze, but just go for the silver, you're going to do very well. Your unit's going to blossom like you've never seen before. It is in amazing just by using some of those goals that you can set and that are obtainable within your group. It's going to do wonders. So definitely use JTE or Journey to Excellence.
So here's a comment, a
Sure.
suggestion that the den leader could use a charter organization, see if the charter organization or other local groups might provide funds for uniforms. And I believe that some councils or other organizations will actually have a uniform exchange where they'll collect gently used or outgrown uniforms to maybe be redistributed.
Yep. Yeah. In fact, a lot of times I tell new parents, if they're going to get a new uniform, make sure that it's 2 sizes larger than what they normally wear, because they are going to grow into it, especially with Cub Scouts. They have a growth spurt in that age group when they start going to school. They start getting huge. And at that point, you need to make sure that that's going to last for a long time. And once they get into Weeblos or Arrow of Light in a Cub Scout situation, once they get into that, they're wearing the tan shirts. And these shirts last a long, long time. You take good care of them, they'll last 20 years. So I know. This one, I believe, is only 16. I think it's 16 years old. So give you an idea. It was being used for something else. It was for wood badge, I think, for a while. And then my other shirt was just wearing out. So, but I wear them every week. So
we have a comment that the best nudge is a high quality program. Yeah. If the kids are engaged, a lot of things will go well.
Yes. And if you can get them, yes, engagement is everything. If they're busy on their cell phone, forget it. You've lost them. So you gotta have that attention, and you have to keep them engaged. That is so important. And the eclipse coming up, everybody's talking about it, but a lot of them don't talk about how to view it, how to do it safely, how to keep the buddy system going. That's important. If you're going to be going out to the park or something like that, you got to have a lot of safety there, but keeping that relevant to what's going on, keeping their attention. It's hard to keep youth's attention these days. There's so many whiz bang things happening on their computer games or their cell phone. It's hard, but they have interest. They definitely want to know about things. So definitely try to keep that going. That is so important. If you can keep them engaged, you got them.
And here's some more advice from Brandon. Possibly reach out to other packs and troops. Possibly collect used uniforms that there are out there. Kind of like not our council, but a nearby council I've heard does the used uniform program.
Yeah, that's an awesome idea. There could be other packs that have like a closet, okay, that they can open up for your scouts that need a uniform. That's totally possible too. It's important to have some kind of cohesiveness. When you look at the unit, you see that they are a den, that they are in Cub Scouts, and that uniform kind of helps that come together. In Cub Scouting, the goal is to build character. Okay. And in Scouts BSA, it's to build good leadership. And it's all done through patrol method. Even though the word patrol is used only in Scouts BSA, whereas with the den, that should be treated as if it was a patrol. Think of it that way. You can use that patrol method, having that cheer, the flag, the camaraderie with the uniform. That is very important for the whole ideal of building that character. That is super important when you're dealing with Cub Scouts. So definitely check around and check your resources. You're not alone. There's, there's a lot of people in the same situation that you can work with and then come up with something that will definitely solve the problem. And that's true on just about everything. So definitely look into it.
We have another comment that the best way to grow, Dan, is peer-to-peer recruiting. I guess if scouts are having fun, they'll invite their friends to come.
Definitely. And the youth requirement for the recruiter patch is all they have to do is recruit one. That's all they have to do. Recruit one and get them into your unit, into your pack. And you can wear that nice recruiter patch for the youth. It's only for the youth. The adults have to get approval through council. So, and that took a little bit, but we were able to get that for our local advancement, or our local recruitment team was able to do that. But they had to recruit 1,000. It was a little different. So.
All right, we have a comment from Michael. For part of my wood badge ticket was creating a new den leader guide. Wow. I kept it to just 10 pages, made it simple with links to various tools and step-by-step instructions to get started.
Fantastic. That is awesome. Make sure that you have a place where that can be parked permanently, or some kind of a way of being able to distribute it digitally, because there's a lot of people throughout the country who would love to have a chance to look at that. I'm one of them. So definitely find a place where you can make the PDF, park it somewhere where you can actually be able to download it for many years to come. So definitely look into that. And that would be awesome. I'd like to look at that. That would be great. That would be really good.
Next question.
Sounds like another video.
Next question asking the new den leader if it's a new pack. I believe from the previous question it was not a new pack.
Yeah. It was a pack in need of some leadership. So, which is great. I'm glad.
Okay, Michael D said they recruited 3 new den leaders in 1 year by offering that guide and help when they needed it. I've also heard someone suggest that if they're having difficulty finding den leaders, to just find an experienced scouter that's willing to agree to be the den leader for the first 6 meetings. Yeah. And then maybe one of the parents will take over.
That's true. That's true. That would definitely help. You can do co-leaderships. You can definitely do that. Have 2 leaders actually going back and forth. That's totally fine. And then with that, you can just switch off every other meeting, or, first 6 meetings, and then I'll do the next 6. I mean, it's up to the individual.
Yep. In fact, several years ago, we taught Sunday school that way at church. It'd be one person would teach Sunday school for, I believe it's 2 months at a time, and that worked very well.
Right. It's a team effort, and scouting can be a lot like a football team. It can be a group effort of moving forward, and definitely work on your resources and get parents to step up. That's the next big thing. You make sure that they're willing to come and provide a little service back to youth that may or may not be their children. So that's something that is a wonderful thing to give back to others. And it's a wonderful gift. For many years, after I was Cub Master, I remember being in grocery store and saying, "Oh, there's ScouterStan," and they, I was in that pack, and I remember I was so shy, and you were able to get me out of my bubble and get me up on that stage with a little puppet or something. And it was wonderful. And now he's chief of police. So it goes around, but definitely get involved. So it's good to have that.
With a comment, the upcoming program updates will make the den leader's job easier by better organizing the adventures and listing the required resources.
Yeah. The new stuff that they just came out with, I believe it starts in June 1st. It is very streamlined, which I think is long overdue because it was quite noodly. Okay, it was like noodles all over the place in every direction. You got all these little badges and little things, and it was confusing. So I'm glad that they've ironed it out, and it's a very rigid base system. I'm glad that they've actually got that finished, and having, for instance, the Bobcat, having that one time, and it's not the same from the beginning of Cub Scouts all the way through to Era of Light. It's not it's very difficult for that to be that requirement. Now with the new system, it's age, you earn it every time you start that rank. Okay, so if you're going for wolf, you have to start with the wolf part of Bobcat and actually get to that point and do that part, and then so on. So I think it really reinforces that process. It makes it a little easier. So that being the case, scouting has gone through changes all the time. It has to change. Scouting is the scouting movement. It is not something that's stagnant and will always be that way no matter what. It changes, it evolves. And, things that don't evolve, things that don't change tend to go extinct. So we don't want that. So we want to make sure that we stay with those changes and stay with that new stuff. And I think it's a lot easier just to kind of streamline it a little better. Parents are very involved in Cub Scouts, whereas in Scouts BSA, they're not directly every meeting and every den meeting and so on. In a Cub Scout unit, they're not with that when you're dealing with a troop situation. So it's a little bit different, and we want them to come together and start developing their youth leadership, and that's another issue. But as far as the actual rank progression, I'm glad it's a lot easier. That's an important thing.
We have a comment. A viewer loves the scream can idea. Scream back, scream can. That's an idea that I'd not heard of. That's new to me.
It is. I love that. It was so much fun, and it wasn't. I didn't come up with it, but it's you do with a jar. Open up the jar and let the screams out, and then put the lid on, and it's silent. That was. There'd always be somebody who would just have to lid is on. They'd always laugh. It was a very fun time. And that's the thing. If you get their attention and you keep it fun, you're gonna keep them engaged. That is a great thing. So definitely do the jar, do the fun box jar, whatever it is. You make it your way, okay? I did it with a clear container with the word "scream" on it, so that if the lid got lost, then nothing but screams would come out. So.
All right, Relantel says that saying the word announcements is akin to saying back in a room of seasoned scouters.
Well, it's that song. I have a song, Talk to Death.
And I think okay, Pin King is saying that in reference to the, I believe, 20,000 pounds of food collected and scouting for food. I still think that's amazing. It was no district or council. Okay, it's in reference to scouting for food. Yep. They do it on their own. Doesn't include numbers in their total. Okay, so I understand this might be their own unit collected 20,000 pounds. If that's one unit, that would be 20,000 pounds is amazing. But if that's one unit, I'm not exactly sure how to interpret this, but that's still amazing.
Wow, that's a lot of food. 20,000 pounds. If you figure that, what is it? 800 pounds goes on a pallet. It's a lot of pallets. 20,000. Wow, that is a lot. So and then for a unit to do that, that's pretty good.
Yeah, if I understand that it's unit. And Pin King has yet another comment here. Thanks for the active comments, everyone. Even some units have a uniform closet or uniform exchange program.
Yeah,
that's a great idea.
That's true. And sometimes they just sit there. So definitely talk to your other units. They might be able to let you in and check out some of those uniforms. So and you just got to update the numbers and the ranks and all that stuff. So that's true for everything in scouting. The only one I think would be Sea Scouts. That's kind of individual. So it's a little different, but they may have some shirts and trousers that are available. So it varies.
All right, fun with purpose for Cubs and parents. Probably
Yes.
in reference to the Scream can. That I still think that's great.
Exactly. Got to do the scream cam. I can do it here, but nobody screams. It's, I guess yeah, that's a little bit different. But if you have a good group and they really get into it, they'll love it. And day camp, they did it with a hat. If the hat is in the hand, it's silent, total silence. But if the hat goes in the air, it screams. And as soon as it's caught, no more screaming. So they did it with a hat. I did the jar thing and just threw the lid.
And we have
took a while to put that lid on. The parents are the ones that found that lid. They were done with the screaming. They were the ones that put it on there. Yeah, it was fun.
We have a comment. Some kids love the uniform. Encourage them with badges and loops. I find that it's great to wear the uniform even when doing a service project, even maybe a cleanup related service project, simply because people that are driving by will understand who is this group of people and what are they doing here.
Exactly.
Everyone in uniform. Oh, okay, it's scouts and they're doing something, some kind of landscaping.
Exactly. And that is a wonderful thing to do for your community, to have the community actually seeing that in action. It's putting the out in scout. That's that is very important. And helping others and helping your community is fantastic. So definitely wear your uniform as often as you can. Try to do activities where you can be seen. The uniforms are kind of expensive. So if you're doing something that's kind of muddy or dirty, you might want to get some activity t-shirt on. Because like we said, their uniforms can be expensive, especially if you have a lot of doodah patches on there. That can be expensive. So you definitely don't want to lose those. And they do last a long time, but you don't want to get them torn up or anything like that. So if the activity warrants it, please wear the uniform. That is a great thing for the community to actively see. That's huge. So,
all right, a comment using aspects of the patrol method with Cubs. Mind blown. Yep. Great idea, sir.
Yes. Because it says den doesn't mean it has to be all den oriented. You can do that. You can have your own den flag, your own den yell. That would be awesome to have. Your troops are doing it. Might as well get them used to that. Start doing it. All of the scouts that crossed over while I was Cub Master, because we were doing that. They were doing the patrol method. I didn't know any different. We were doing that with the Cub Scouts. They all did very well in the troops. They did very well. So because they were used to that, patrol method. So yeah. I'm glad it's a mind blown. It's a different concept. So,
and here's a comment that peer-to-peer cards, I assume for recruiting, work for parents too.
Yes, definitely. Invite them over. It's okay to have your friends come to a pack meeting. Fine. They see what's going on. They see how much fun it is, how much screaming goes on. Take them to the Pinewood Derby. That is a great opportunity to invite friends to come and see the Pinewood Derby. They've heard of it. They just never been there and seen it and how great it is. So invite them. Invite as many people as you can. All your family, all your friends, bring them along. That way they see it, they know it, and they might get involved. That's the next thing. Once you've introduced them to it, you have to do the ask. You have to ask them, would you like to get involved? Would you like little Billy or Jane to get involved, in this? Have them come to the den meeting at that point, and then have them activities, and then have them enroll. And, That is how you recruit, and just recruit year round. Never stop recruiting, all the time, all the time. Every scout leader should have like a folder or a binder or something that has applications in it. It has the welcome to the pack or welcome to the troop type of information. They should have that in their car so that if somebody says, "Oh, I saw you're in uniform and I saw you getting ice cream for the group." Yeah, you can get involved. Here's the application. Here's how you do it. This is where we meet. This is what we do. We just continuously recruit. That's and I recommend that with all leaders. All leaders should do that.
Okay, great. Another user says, my dad says he was willing to give me $10,000 if I get my Eagle Scout. Well, congratulations. That's a great encouragement.
That is a big encouragement. That's a nice car.
It looks like Brandon is commenting to a previous question that it's not a new pack. It's just a small pack with only 3 tigers in the den.
That's okay. 3 now, 4 next week. A month from now, it'll be 7. They tend to grow. Okay. You just keep recruiting. And that's how you do it. You just keep recruiting.
And the user Nimrod Diaries is encouraging Brandon to stick with it. And just found out that one of their old tigers just graduated from Navy boot camp. Play the long game. It matters to them. Yep, they'll turn out well.
That's true. That's true. I know that several went from that to the troop I went to. When I was Cub Master, I went over to the troop, and those youth, I was able to mentor them to Eagle, and a lot of them have moved on. And I know that some are in the Air Force, some are in the military. I know that one went to West Point. I know that there's 2 that are in the police department. There's 4 that are actually in fire brigade and what they call it, the fire and rescue. 2 of them are EMTs. I know a doctor that's in there. It's amazing, these youth, when they grow up. Now, this gray hair is where I got that. So it's over time, you see the results of that labor of caring and getting them involved and getting that leadership and learning those things. They quite literally, they're going to run the world. It's their world to run, and they're going to do it. So let's make great leaders, ones with ethics and the Scout Oath and Scout Law to guide them. That's the thing. That's the thing. None of them are politicians. Come think of it. It just dawned on me. None of them are politicians. I do have one that's a lawyer, but yeah.
Well, before I read the next question, I see we have 25 people watching. That's amazing.
That
Looks
is
like
great.
16 people have given a thumbs up. So if you're watching, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It helps YouTube promote this channel more and this live broadcast each month, so that hopefully more people will be directed to be pulled in to see this.
And don't also keep it a secret. Tell everybody you know.
Absolutely. If you find this useful, let others know. Yeah. And also, we're getting kind of close to the end on questions. So, for the let's see, we're now down to 24 people. Hey, for the viewers out there, if there's a comment you'd like to make, something you'd like to share, a question that you'd like to ask Stan, this would be a great time to type it in the questions.
Yeah, definitely. Give us some questions. We love questions. I think my screen here, I'm looking at it, and there's like a long list here. There we are. I'm near the end there. Yes. But there's so many things coming up on the channel. I did talk briefly about membership. Memberships are one of those wonderful things that we have and we're very active with that. And we want to make sure that we try to get as many members participating, because I'd like to improve that camera. Okay. It's a little foggy. It's an old camera. That's the camera I had when I was in Toronto a long time ago. So it's it is a very old camera, and I do need to improve it. So that's one of the things that the funding goes towards. So definitely think about it. There's a lot of little benefits that are in there. Production wise, you get a longer video, and you don't get it at 7. You get it before. Usually, you get it a little early, somewhere around 5 o'clock. Is usually when I make it available to the members. They get their long 4K video. It is amazing. The software that I have takes about an hour per minute. So if it's 30 minutes long, that takes a long time to compile as a 4K video. So that is because I get it as an MTS file, which is huge. And so it has to be able to compile all that. And it takes a lot of computing power, and it takes up a lot of space. That's one of those things that I have to deal with on this end. So, and I do it as a labor of love for this channel. And I think this is a wonderful thing, and it's a great opportunity to really just fine tune your scouting skills as a leader, and get that extra edge and really make a difference. And that's one of the wonderful things. So definitely think about the membership stuff. If you want to join, you can. There was a time, I don't know if it's on here, where I could hit a magic button and some memberships show up. But you can definitely do that if you want. So that's one of those things.
So we have another viewer commenting, not keen in reference to the updates to the Cub Scout program, not keen on not having the early rank of Bobcat to kind of set the hook and draw them in, but it'll be fine.
Well, the Bobcat has been split up between every position. So if you have wolf, they have their Bobcat, the wolf Bobcat. So it's age appropriate for the wolf. So that's what's interesting about it. So if you go into the bears, they have their own Bobcat, and if you go into the Webelos, they have their own Bobcat. So it's not just one Bobcat rank for their entire time as Cub Scouts. They earn it each time they are in that rank. That's what the streamlining did. It didn't make it a huge rank advancement. And Bobcat's always been kind of simple. Just because you're dealing with very, very young youth. And so it's always been that way. But now we can make it more challenging for the older youth. So that's something to think about. It's not that it went away. It just got split up into many pieces, so that depending on where you are will depend on, what Bobcat you're doing. So keep that in mind. Well, didn't go away. It's still there.
And the user from the previous comment just said, clarifying they like the idea of giving the kids something physical for their effort.
Yeah, so that's so true. If they're making that effort, you got to have that there. And that recognition is big in Cub Scouts, because we're building that character. We want that character to develop and really get going. Because I can remember as a Cub Master, there would be Cub Scouts that would come in and they couldn't let go of mom. They just clung to her and everything. Within 2 or 3 weeks, by the next pack meeting, they were up on stage with a puppet, dancing and singing and having the time of their lives. So that's that process that every youth has to have, that opportunity to get that going and build that character, because we want them to have that character so they can go on to be great leaders. So that's just me on my soapbox.
So we have a comment from Hillary. Says, good night, y'all. Gonna rest up for the big eclipse tomorrow. So scout on.
Yeah, we do have to go. We have to wrap this up pretty soon, but it is a big thing for the eclipse. Make sure you get your glasses, do the pinhole thing. Make sure that, I'm not sure if I trust these. I'm going to hold them up over a piece of paper and see if any light goes through it. That would not be good. I don't want my eyes hurt. They're already bad enough.
We have Stefan saying, I'm a life scout in the current ASPL for my troop. I was
Awesome.
wondering, what do you think is the best piece of advice to help lead my troop?
Help lead or lead? Like, let me see.
Help lead the troop.
Lead. Got it. Leading that troop as a senior patrol leader is a great assistant senior patrol leader is a great opportunity to do a lot of stuff with the senior patrol leader. Work together. The senior patrol leader should put you in charge of some meetings. If they're off doing something with whatever they're doing, maybe you could run the meeting. Instead of just relying on them. Give them that opportunity to take a night off and you get to run the meeting. It's okay if they're in the audience, if they want to sit back or they have to sit in a meeting with the quartermaster or something. That's fine. As assistants, senior patrol leader, it's important to be able to take up the reins if you have to. And that is a great way to really get to know a lot of the patrols, a lot of the youth that are in, especially if you have a big unit. There's a lot of scouts to know and work with, and that's your opportunity. Make sure that your senior patrol leader is giving you some tasks to work on. So that is another thing. They're not to do everything. Okay. They're in charge of a troop. They're running a lot of very important stuff for the youth group. As assistant, you need to be given projects. So they shouldn't be giving you all the projects, but make sure that there's meaningful projects coming your way that you can work on, whether it's reorganizing the quartermaster, the equipment, reorganizing something. It could be anything. It'd be your historian. You could be, you name it. There's a lot of different projects that the scoutmaster has made the senior patrol leader aware of, and it shouldn't be all on his plate. So definitely as assistant senior patrol leader, you step up and make sure you take some of those tasks so that they're not overwhelmed. You don't like it when you're overwhelmed, so it's likewise. So definitely do that.
Well,
Did we have another?
Well, we have another question. I'll get to in just a minute. Hey, if I
Okay.
can just take a minute and share the thing that I discussed with you before the start of the broadcast.
Sure.
A couple months ago, our district executive was working to plan our upcoming merit badge rally for our council, and asked me if I could if I could teach the energy merit badge at the rally. And I said,
Wow.
I'd certainly be happy to do that, but let me make some calls. And, as a result of those calls, yesterday, 23 scouts earned the energy merit badge in a class taught at a power plant. It
Wow.
was very engaging. I'm sure they will remember it for a very long time.
Wow. That is amazing. That is, and if you can do that for a lot of different merit badges, there's, going to the fire station and actually working with them. I believe that was something I was relating before we got started tonight. There's somebody on the chat that actually talked about doing that with Cub Scouts, fire extinguishers, or trying that out. That was something that they were doing. So practical stuff, hands-on stuff, being able to see that power generation stuff, that is a huge industry. So you might have some leaders of that industry that went through that and were inspired. A lot of merit badges do that. A lot of them do that. Inspiration towards a career or an avocation of some kind later in life. So definitely
And
think about it.
a,
Congratulations. That's quite a few people getting that merit badge.
Yeah, and a point that we made with all the scouts is that they should be thinking about what careers they want to have, and
Yeah.
every scout will know about certain careers, but there's many careers out there that a lot of people haven't heard about. So
Right. Right. And not everything needs a college education. Mike Rowe is one of those advocates to a lot of the trades that are out there. And it's if you've ever been in construction, you know that having a good electrician is hard, hard to keep them engaged because they're pulled in every direction. And I believe he was on a channel. He was talking about all of the careers that are out there. They have electricians. They have 7 electricians in an area. 3 of them are going to retire, and only 1 is coming in brand new. So there is a glut for electricians. There's a need for plumbers and pipe fitters and welders and all the different trades that are out there. They're being ignored, and not everybody needs the college education, but they need the experience of those skills. And that's a wonderful thing. Did you know there's a welding merit badge? There actually is a welding, and there's a plumbing merit badge. So these are merit badges that you may want to introduce. Automotive, I think there's even one for that. So there's merit badges for just about everything. So definitely look into that. And not everything requires a college education, but everything does require experience. So
Yeah.
that is,
In fact, I'm
that
a
is
counselor for the welding merit badge. I haven't taught it yet, but
yeah.
and I can really echo that. There's a lot of trade oriented merit badges which really help give our scouts a taste of career opportunities.
Mike Rowe is very into it, and I don't know if you're familiar. It's the actor that did Dirty Jobs, and
Yep, I
you
recall.
may or may not know this, but Mike Rowe is actually an Eagle Scout. So he has been to the Jamboree and gave an address there and talked about trade industries and all the stuff that's out there. So something to think about. Something to think about when you're working with youth. Not everybody's going to be a doctor. Not everybody's going to be a pilot. Not everybody's going to be, a college degree required type of thing. But we need plumbers. Believe me, if you don't have a plumber and you have a plumbing problem, wow. And don't knock it, but there are some plumbers and electricians that make a lot more than your doctor. So, as they're that good.
In fact, there's a unit in our area that did a 2-night weekend camp out for the electronics merit badge. So we're at a scout camp in the lodge, and we're doing the circuit projects. And so I better read this next question next comment from Ken. Great meeting. Love it all. And the screaming box. Good night, y'all.
All right, Ken. Good night. Reverend Ken.
And Pin King, 2 different ASPLs and cabinet and patrols in a large unit. Okay, great.
Ooh, that's a bunch. That's cool.
And Vincent says, when I was the assistant senior patrol leader, I ran the leadership corps in our troop, which was in charge of the games and meeting as well as the contest. Sorry.
Wow. That's cool. That's cool. You can delegate. Delegation is super important. That's a huge, really important leadership skill. Delegation. Delegate out the job and make sure that you got people who know what they're doing and delegate it. It could be as simple as a game or a puzzle or something, but still, it has to be delegated. That's leadership. What do we got there from? Okay. Painting. Am I seeing that right? Painting?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was on mute. I didn't realize.
Okay.
I'm liking the mute button on my new microphone. I just failed to. Sorry, left you hanging there.
Painting.
Yeah, painting. So there's so many merit badges, and I think we were having a conversation a while ago about many of was there originally 57 merit badges in scouting or something like that?
I believe it, but the merit badges were actually in the handbook, Scouting for Boys, and I believe that's the British one. But the American one, the very front of that was mainly Seton, I think, that was writing it, and Baden-Powell had his British scouting stuff in there too. But it kind of segments in the middle, and the rest of it's all merit badges. So it had, I think, 40 merit badges in there. And that was something that the original handbook, the 1910 handbook, the one that they originally came out with, which didn't actually get distributed until 1911. So 1910 was our founding year. So, but I think that's actually in the book. The first editions were like that. I have a PDF of it. So I just look through the PDF. I don't have an actual, the actual handbook is quite old. So, but over 100
So
years old.
with Bruce commented that Mike Rowe has a good Eagle Scout letter. Yeah, I remember some references to
Yeah.
Mike Rowe.
Mike Rowe he is surprisingly talented. he he can sing. He is surprisingly talented, that's for sure. And
Okay.
yeah.
Relantel commented that none of the 1910 merit badges remain. The revamped list from 1911, still many of them remain. I didn't realize that. I think you commented, Stan, recently that
Yeah.
it's surprising that the first aid merit badge was not one of the original sets.
Well, the first aid merit badge was not required to actually become an Eagle Scout. That was optional. So that was an interesting read. I was on Arthur, the very first Eagle Scout. That was the one merit badge he didn't have, was his first aid. So I thought that was interesting. So definitely cool. But I think we're almost out of time.
Yep, and I think we have our last question.
Yep.
Okay, so great. Okay, great live, Stan, was a comment from user Nimrod Diaries. So I agree, this was a great live broadcast. So thank you so
I hope
much.
everybody had a great time. That's what I'm hoping. If you've had a good time, and tell people, don't keep it a secret. Definitely tell people about our channel, about all the stuff we have here. I think the last time I looked at it, there was well over 600 videos. I don't know if they're counting the shorts or not, but it is amazing to me that there's that many videos. It stuns me. But definitely check them out. There's something there, and if there isn't, you got to let me know so that I get that hole filled. Because if you find it, others are looking for it too. So we need to make sure that we cover just about every subject there is in scouting and scout leadership. And I am so grateful for everything you do in scouting. Mike, thank you so much for helping out. This has been an absolute blast, and it has gone so fast. So I'm going to wrap it up, but I'll tell you what, thank you so much for all that you do in scouting, and let's keep doing scouting and keep these things going. This is good. We're helping America. As I'm always saying, we're helping scouting one scout at a time. We're creating a better America. So always keep that in mind, and definitely hang in there. Thank you for all you do, and I will see you on the trail.